Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm Kris. Today, so I went to do I started this before and it started playing, and then I got sidetracked. I got a new puppy, and I don't know where he went. That's always a good sign. But anyways, it played these first 17 seconds. Hey. I'll be right back. Okay, so really can't see him too well. But this is him. He's a black lab. Let me see if this, there you go. That's better. He's a black lab, and his name's Jackson. And yes, I'm a history fan, so I named him after Andrew Jackson. The good parts, not the bad stuff. But this little guy, he needs a nap. So I'm going to put him in his little kennel right now. I'm going to start this video. Okay, sorry. Got to put him in his kennel. He's tired, but he's walking around. He wants to play, and my other two dogs don't want to play with him. They're very standoffish with him right now. They want nothing to do with him. Typical. Okay. So, don't mind the screams. That's not me with, like, children. It's the next door kids. And they're free. I haven't done anything to them. So, before we get started, I've done one other video from this channel. Rizith. I think their goal was 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I don't think they're going to make that, but props to them for getting what they have for 10 videos. So, we're going to cover this. You saw me give a thumbs up. If you can do that for me, that helps out tremendously. You can subscribe to the channel if you'd like to. Subscribe to this channel too, because so far, the other video I saw was decent. You can donate to the channel through the thanks button. All donations are appreciated. You can request a video. If you do, you get your name sponsoring that video. You can still request a video. You just don't get the added little shout out. Okay, you ready to start the video? Let's go. Maybe. Yeah. So I started this. It got up to about 17 or 18 seconds. And it got a little uncomfortable. This will be a two-parter. Break it up about 17 minutes, which I think is, yeah, about there.
They say the human mind is an extremely curious one. We want answers to things that we know aren't good for us. Sometimes you hear about something that you can't help but look up. But what if there was something so vile out there that you never wanted it to see the light of day? What if even if you wanted to, it's not accessible to you? Or rather, it doesn't even exist. Media exists in all forms. And every day, the internet slowly loses that. Not only the internet, fires, explosions, tragedies, purposeful destruction of media. You get it. Things get lost. Media does as well. But something about lost media in specific not only captivates people, but it also tends to disturb them. Sometimes, however, there are pieces of lost media that deserve to stay lost. Regardless of people's curiosity, not all lost media should be found, because not all lost media should be viewed. There are countless pieces of documents, transcripts, footage, photos, film, etc., all locked behind a safe, burned into rubble, or hidden beneath the dead web. And sometimes it's because the media is as something vicious as a murder, or even sometimes even something much, much worse. Sometimes you don't want to find what is lost. Sometimes it should stay lost. Of course, doing research for this video, I came across a lot of upsetting things, especially when we get to our last segment. So, I'll try to keep this first segment here much lighter, and I will make it very clear right now. It is quite light in comparison to the later half. The first segment isn't something I'd inherently want to keep lost because I'm curious about it. I just really wanted to include it in here because I just find it so intriguing. But of course, I must say that after that, starting from the second entry forward, massive trigger warnings, keeping up to theme with the video. This is the lost media you don't want to find. Lost media can mean anything, and I mean anything. That means that even adult media can be lost, whether it be to time, lawsuits, or copyright issues. Even adult media can be lost. One that is so peculiar and also seemingly controversial is a film simply titled Him. Him is a gay pornographic film from 1974 that garnered massive attention in the 1980s due to a mention of the film in the book, The Golden Turkey Awards. It won an award for Most Unironic Concept in gay pornography. The movie all but encompasses the true absurdity of porno and the industry. To me, it is simply funny to hear that this exists, or rather it existed. To others, it was all but offensive. To each their own. I feel that was probably the point, if I'm going to be honest with you. You may be wondering to yourself a few things. One, what was this movie really even about? And two, why were people so offended? I can answer both those questions in one sentence. Him is a 1974 gay pornographic film depicting the life of Jesus Christ. That's all you need to know. It is a gay porno about Jesus. Not many have seen this film. As you know, it was quite taboo back then to be openly gay.
I haven't even heard of this, which, I mean, I wasn't around when it came out, but it just, the premise is utterly ridiculous. That's probably why people didn't watch it. That and it was gay porn. So you can't say the word, but I can clearly read it here. YouTube is odd with their
Sadly,
censorship.
most would probably be ruined if seen around or near the venue it premiere at. Here's what some of the promo for the film looked like. It was shown at the 55th Street Playhouse in New York from March 27th to May 23rd, 1974. It returned to the Playhouse on December 6th, 1974, and January 6th, 1976. The film was thought to be a hoax due to the book, The Golden Turkey, claiming one film that was written about didn't even exist. It was thought Him was that fake film. However, it was revealed the fake film was actually Dog of Norway. The film was also shown at the Bijou Theater in Chicago, the Sansom Cinema in Philadelphia, the Nob Hill Theater in San Francisco, the Gay Prairie Theater in Atlanta, the Wood 61 in Highland Park, and the David Theater in New York, the Penthouse Second Theater in Pittsburgh, and the Adonis Theater in New York. There have been no showings since, and no footage has ever surfaced. It's safe to say the film existed, but considering how shoddy the porno industry was back then, specifically in the gay porno industry, it's hard to tell if this will ever see the light of day. This one will be lost to time, and more than likely has been destroyed. Many films, even cheaper ones, did not have as big of a budget as the big-name companies. If they didn't make or break in the box office from one weekend, that was it for the movie. Destroyed or recorded over. The reels lost to time. More than likely, this is what happened to Him. Possibly one of the more controversial pieces of adult media. Completely lost to time. This is a piece of media I feel like will never be refound or discovered. That's why it's been shelved on the Lost Media Wiki. There's not much else to say about this movie. It's a gay pornography depicting the life of Jesus Christ, and it was lost. A handful of people have only seen this movie, and there's a lot of weird information out there you can find about the creator of this film and the actors involved. Most of them are now dead. All I can really say is that this film, to me, is very intriguing. If I were given the chance to be able to watch this film, I would probably give it a shot and just see what it has, because it's just got this legend around it. It's a very bizarre one. I don't think there's anything out there like it. It's just so weird to say. It's like the Passion of the Christ, but like a gay porno version of that. It's really weird to think about that existed. I think it's funny, in one way, but it's also a piece of film cinema if you think about it, and that's crazy that it's lost to time. So personally, as I said, this first segment is light, so I don't see this being that crazy. And unlike the other entries on this list, I wouldn't mind if this surfaced, but I don't think it ever will.
It's even if it's surfaced, it's a gay porn. You're not going to get a lot of eyes on it because, well, it's not going to be released in AMC isn't taking it, is what I'm saying. I'm sure Pornhub would probably take it, but you're not going to get mass eyes on it. I mean, I personally don't know what gay porn movies do in terms of internet box office, like the revenue. I mean, the porn business is billions of dollars, so people are watching. I've never watched it. I don't know what you're talking about, but people clearly watch porn, so people would watch it. No. Because it's not my thing. And it's not just the gay concept, it's the whole thing sounds stupid. But I didn't know about it, so I gotta say that's interesting.
Yellowstone National Park is a treasure to many Americans. I personally find parks to be beautiful. I live in Oregon
I've never been there.
myself, and the scenery is always so breathtaking. I find nature to be so relaxing, but I myself realize that nature can also be very, very dangerous. I try to keep my distance from wild animals as much as I love them. I know you cannot mess with nature, as that is not what was intended. The arrogance of man is thinking that nature is in their control, and not the other way around.
I choose to not understand these signs. Aha!
Bender, I was just not playing the Hall of Honor.
Yeah, we should try not stinking at it.
On June 7th, 2016, a psychology graduate by the name of Colin Scott would venture to Yellowstone National Park, accompanied by his sister, Sable Scott. There they had the intention of doing an act known as hot potting within one of Yellowstone's thermal pools. Hot putting is an act of soaking in the park's superheated thermal springs. It is very, very illegal. The thing is, most of Yellowstone springs are considered acid baths that can reach to an astounding 205 degrees Fahrenheit, enough to make your skin peel off and make you go blind. The act of hot potting is not only stupid, but very dangerous. June 7, 2016 would be the last day Colin's sister saw him alive, because that was the day Colin fell right into a hot spring within the Norris Geyser Basin. This not only ended his life, but completely dissolved his entire body. Throughout Colin and Sable's adventures, Sable was recording the entire journey, including her brother's death. The very moment he fell into that spring, that was when his fate was sealed. Scott graduated from Pacific University. He decided to visit his sister and travel from Portland, Oregon. they decided to take the day trip to Yellowstone and park not too far from the said Norris Geyser Basin. Without any supervision, both of them broke many rules at the park. Obviously, it is not safe to jump into these hot springs. They are dubbed acid baths for a reason. But for some odd reason, they didn't know any better. The video itself is considered lost media. It has never surfaced and has only been used within law enforcement. To respect Colin, the video has been kept to the family only. Sable recorded the entire ordeal. The transcription of the video has been censored, but it is known the pair intentionally walked off the board, and as Scott was checking the temperature, he proceeded to slip and fall into the hot spring. His sister attempted to rescue him, but of course to no avail. When officials reached the spring, they found remains of Scott's head, upper torso, and hands. However, they were never able to recover the remains. The spring was at a whopping 212 Fahrenheit, and a lightning storm was brewing. His family stated that Scott was a dedicated Christian whose love for people stemmed from the love he felt from God. A tragic story and a tragic event, and a stark reminder as to why sometimes these things deserve to be kept away. There are so many things that we never see that can happen to people and have yet to see. But I feel that's for the best, because sometimes there are some very atrocious pieces of content out there that deserve to be lost, and I feel this one needs to be kept lost. Regardless of curiosity and regardless of the cat, another example of lost media you just don't want to find.
In America, gun violence is at an all-time high. The culture around guns and gun violence has become so desensitized that a school shooting can be shrugged off as a mere joke. Just another casual, tragic event that just happens. To many, it is what it is. It's a disgusting approach to an overarching issue in this country, but I digress. Politics is not the point here. School shootings are a horrendous atrocity that hurt many people annually.
Now, in America, you have the Sandy Hook massacre where little tiny children died, and your government went, maybe we'll get rid of the big guns?
The first of many. On April 20th, 1999, Columbine High School would be a victim to one of these massacres. Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold would end the lives of over 15 people, two of those people being themselves, many, many more injured. The Columbine High School massacre is a well-known one, going down in infamy as one of the first catalysts to decades of gun violence and torment across American schools nationwide. In December 1999, Times Magazine's Tim Roche was given 5 tapes recorded by the murderers that investigators discovered. Roche would make an article for Times Magazine on December 20th, 1999. After seeing the tapes, he would dub them the basement tapes. Many family members of the deceased were furious at the Jefferson County Police, considering the families that were mourning never got access to these tapes. They threatened to sue the county over this major mistake. The county would screen the tapes for the families and then put the tapes in a vault indefinitely. In 2003, a 15-minute recording of the killer's shooting at the Rampart Range was released. In 2004, a short film the two had created for school 5 months prior to the massacre titled Hitmen for Hire would surface, both of which many people suspected to have been 2 of the infamous basement tapes. Jefferson County Sheriff Ted Mink was told by the court he was allowed to release the remaining footage, should he desire. But of course he declined in fear of troubled youth becoming inspired by the tapes. He would, however, release in-depth transcripts of all of the basement tapes, confirming the rumors about the previously released footage. The families of the deceased, who viewed all of the footage in its entirety, said it came up to roughly 3 to 4 hours in runtime. Since the 1999 screening, the unreleased tapes have never been seen by the public. I would love to analyze the transcripts, but this video would be too long for my taste or yours.
We don't, as the public, we don't need to see everything. The lost media you don't want to find. How about lost media that we just don't deserve to see? We don't need to see everything. And something like that, like we don't need to see. especially because there's going to be people who take inspiration from them, regardless of who they are, every shooter. And that would just go into some futuristic manifesto of, oh, I got to follow through what the Columbine guys did. When I was in high school, would have been my freshman year. So I was out of high school when this happened, fortunately. But I had moved, went to a new high school, and one of the guys, sorry. Sorry. One of the guys that was in, I think he would have been a grade below me, brought a 357 Magnum to school to show a teacher and a student in a like scary way. It was unloaded, but he brought his dad's 357 to school. He got suspended for 3 days. Like, so, these guys, Columbine was like a 9/11 for school shooting, for high school, well, for school shooting. And like so much changed. And I can think back of how different it was prior. And I remember hearing about that and I was like, wow, like that's crazy. That just, it couldn't comprehend that that was a reality.
There are many videos on the basement tapes out there if you're curious, but reading the transcripts more or less beats the purpose of this video. This isn't something I would personally want to seek or find for myself. The tapes had every bit of evidence to show how planned of an atrocity it all was. The basement tapes will go down in history as one of the most profound insights into the minds of some of the most sickest individuals on this planet. Lost to time, never to be seen. Before going on the next entry, I want to say that my goal is to hit 100,000 subscribers before the end of 2024. We're very close to 1,000, and I'd really appreciate if you could hit that subscribe button, comment, and like. All these things just help me get into the algorithm. I'm not going to be shameless or plug myself too hard. I just want to be in the algorithm because my dream since I was a child is to have a community of people to create content for. That's it. I want to create content for you guys. So please, if you enjoy this content, support me. Because without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. Also, if you have any suggestions for new videos, follow me on Instagram, right here. I'd really appreciate that. I shared teasers for this video on my Instagram months before this video has even released. So please check that out and follow me there. Also follow me on Twitter if you choose, but I really hate Twitter. Thank you for letting me spew some nonsense. I appreciate that. On with the video.
September 11, 2001 would be one of the most horrific days in American history. 4 coordinated terrorist strikes in the United States, all orchestrated by the Islamic terrorist group Al-Qaeda. 4 planes collided, 2 hitting the World Trade Center in New York City, 1 hitting the Pentagon, and 1 veering off course, where a group of Americans aboard said plane banded together to prevent further terror. That final plane would crash into an empty field in Pennsylvania, creating a crater in its wake. United 93 will never be forgotten. Don't you ever look at this and think, the amount of souls that must be trapped there, just forever longing to move on.
I'd love to see New York. We could all go with the bus company's special Super Sitter fare. $9? This one's on me.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end it there before we get into the next. I know where the next one's going. Okay. So we're going to end this here. But we'll be back with part 2. And I'm going to probably do a couple more videos from him. I don't know how current he is in terms of updating and stuff like that. But yeah, it doesn't matter. All right, so we're going to end this here. But we'll be back with part 2. Until then, have a good day. Have a good night.